This is called Springsteening in the Comic-Con business, when you share a mic.
Oh, yes. What is this? I don't need a mic. I got a big fucking mouth. Yeah, there will be cursing, spoiler alert.
We'll try not to.
No,
Sorry.
this is,
Yeah, there was an applause.
yeah. So we've been drinking pretty heavily before this, so. Just, anybody here from last year? Alright, so you guys remember when the cops showed up, right? Yeah.
24 years and I'd never had a cop called on one of my events, and then there's Frank.
There were no Harley balloons for me to, bring up here and get arrested for this year, so. We're gonna have to make do. But, alright, I'll introduce the lovely panel we have here. We have a new entry this year. We have Mr. Gerry Dugan.
She said Dugan. Yeah, a buddy of mine fired me on Veep. In the episode where she's trying to find out who called her the C word, and I had the moment spoiled for me on Twitter because I was looking. Somebody saw it ahead of me. Anyway, very nice to meet you. It's nice to be here. I have not been to MEGACON. This is my first MEGACON, and what a cool show with great fans. Totally took the bad taste I had of Florida in my mouth from college days when I took a vacation and ended up breaking up with my girlfriend on the trip. It became a psychological thing.
Strangely enough, I broke up with your girlfriend too.
She deserved it.
Yes.
She knows what she did. But it's a super cool show, and it's very nice to meet you all, and thanks for coming out.
And we have, of course, Mr. Invincible himself, Mr. Ryan Ottley. Hello. And we have this loser next to me.
Mr. Venom.
Mr. Venom. Ryan Stegman. And yes, and of course I am the magnificent Frank Tieri.
The mayor of comics, everyone. Put your hands together for the mayor of comics.
We will try not to have the cops show up this year, but no promises.
Ryan, I'm just drawing a Venom because why not?
You're drawing a Venom?
Just draw whatever you want.
Okay.
Is that, so are these the raffle prizes that, or what's the raffle for? This is my first rodeo, so, you're my lens through this. It's for art. Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's gonna be very cool.
It's for all your clothes. We get naked up here. There is alcohol involved, so.
I'll threaten you with a little bit of business. I'll get the plugs out of the way. If you come to the X-Men panel tomorrow, be sure to stay through the end. So I'll say
This end credit scene.
there's a post-credit scene. By the way, I'm gonna ask Jordan, you stand up, wave hi to everyone. This is my editor on X-Men. So, if you have questions about Jordan, or you want to know how the sausage is made, he'd be a good resource for you.
Yes.
He's here all weekend.
Or if you want to pitch him ideas.
Yeah,
great.
He likes that.
Pitch him X-Men ideas.
Does anyone
to try
want
and
his
get me
number?
fired.
Does anyone want Jordan's number?
No, we have a big Fall of X panel tomorrow, and stick around for the whole rodeo. It's at 3, up here somewhere. I don't have to. That's your job, right? I gotta give you something to do.
Somewhere nearby.
Yeah, somewhere nearby.
320A.
It's very informative.
Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, we usually just open this up to questions, so have at it. Go ahead.
I got one for you.
Okay.
Last year, you said something, I think you spoiled something that you were doing about a video game.
I'm still not supposed to talk about it. Okay, here, I'll let you.
I remember what it was you said that it was for, and a game kind of in that series was revealed. I was wondering if that was the game it was.
That was not, okay.
No, it wasn't. That's all. That's all.
It's an alien video game, okay,
Yeah,
everybody,
that's-
okay? I'm gonna get himself in trouble again, but,
Any alien video game, Your Honor.
it's not the one that they announced, it's another.
Okay.
Okay, it's another alien video game.
Okay.
There's multiple alien.
Yeah, of course. There's
All right.
probably like 5 or 6 in the works.
Yeah, there's like 8,000 alien games. Anyway, no, it's not, yeah, so it's aliens. Next, anybody else?
No.
This might be a weird question, it's for Mr. Ottley. When you're drawing your more gory scenes, what kind of things do you use as inspiration? Is it like medical images? Is it like horror movies?
Gross, no. I'm like real gore, that is disgusting. I tried that once. I looked at a web, it was like, I think it was on rotten.com, someone told me about it. I think it was
We all did
Tony
that.
Moore, yeah, he was telling me he would look up like cadavers and dead people to draw really good zombies, and I tried, I'm like, oh god, I just can't stomach it. But so mine's just, my gore is just like cartoony gore, I call it, cartoony.
Al Gore.
Al Gore, yeah, whatever. It's just all just made up in my brain, it's not as disgusting as, real shit, but, Toby, I want people to be shocked, but also it tends to make people laugh, because it's kind of funny to see just a pool of blood flying everywhere, so.
Yeah, and you do really, like, it's about the movement in the blood, I think.
It is,
All
yeah,
moving and flowing
I kind of
around.
use the blood as action lines, yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, bastard.
Yeah, you are. You are twisted.
Are there any opportunities you've said no to and regretted?
That one porno there.
But all the other pornos.
Very proud of those.
Very
I'm
proud.
fond of those.
I can only speak, for me, there are times when the right offer comes along at the wrong time. And I've turned down either working on dream gigs or with dream collaborators because I knew I would be overextended. And that comes along all the time, and it's very tough when I was starting out, because all of a sudden I'm getting paid to do this thing that I was doing for free, and then you're afraid if you say no, that all of a sudden it will stop. But that's not really what happens. You always want to make sure that you're available to do the best work that you can with the amount of clock that you can dedicate to it. So.
I say yes to everything. I'm a whore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I barely have ever said no to anything.
Tale of two writers. What are you working on now that you can talk about?
Harley
Yep.
screws up the DCU.
Love it.
Thank you. If you guys haven't been picking it up, and shame on you if you haven't. It's the basic idea is Harley inherits a time machine, and Harley being Harley, she goes back in time, and when she comes back, she finds out that Star the Conqueror has taken over the world. And what she finds out is that while she was in the time machine, she screwed up all the DC heroes' origins, so no one was around to stop Starro when he came. So she has to then go back in the time machine and go and fix all the origins. Yeah, nice idea, right, guys? They don't give these monkeys this job,
No recording, please, for what I'm about to say, because it's a compliment to Frank. I'm just kidding. You can record it. Yeah, I realize. You can record.
It's like 8,000 cameras going.
I know. What I wanted to say was, I think sometimes with the origin of Deadpool, when it is talked about, and there's not enough names mentioned, and you actually gave a lot to that character.
Oh, thank
and
you,
you
buddy.
don't get enough of the credit for sort of being there as he was being built into what we all love about the character today.
Thank you, buddy. That's
Yeah,
very nice.
I-
I absolutely agree. I don't get enough credit.
If I thought about it, I would have then hit him with the punchline, but I was like, just had the on. If I'd waited maybe later in the program, there would have been something. But no, in all sincerity, there have been so many folks over the years that have written and drawn him, and he is like Freddy Krueger with a million different parents. So
Yeah, and you've done a great job too.
I had a lot of fun. I've come to think of it, I wonder what Deadpool didn't exist because I hoarded all of the Deadpool for a while. But it was anybody at that moment, anyone in that chair was in for a rocket ride, because we were just sitting down when, the test footage got leaked. So it was going to the stratosphere no matter what. but, you know, credit is not a finite resource, and I was talking about Deadpool earlier. My goodness, what a murderer's row of talent.
Great talent, yeah.
That over the years, and I was happy to contribute, very privileged.
Actually, I'll let you guys in on a little secret. That Harley pitch was also a Deadpool pitch simultaneously, okay?
There
So
you go.
it's
And
DC
Harley won
bid
out.
first,
Yeah, yeah,
DC
yeah.
bid first, so,
That's
you know.
awesome. Hey, that's, somebody was telling me, one of my favorite Spider-Man stories was actually a Batman story. The Craven's Last Hunt, right? was a
Really?
Batman
Oh,
story.
really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean.
And who was the villain?
Do you,
I don't
can you
remember.
jump in?
don't remember.
Somebody with an open web browser, I think.
Come on, you guys are all nerds, what do you guys know?
So, I'm gonna mispronounce his name, is it DeMatteis?
The Mattis?
DeMatteis. What a talented writer, but I, like, you know, I read those comics until the covers fell off. I was picking them up off the spinner rack new, and he has a blog, and he just one day casually threw that out there, and it blew my mind. You know, it's just one of those situations, you know, when you're a freelance writer and you have, you know, different companies that you work with, how, you know, you're in the conceptual stage, you can change shapes.
Yeah, you've done that before, where you had a picture of something, you're like, well, you know,
Yeah, totally.
change the tires, and it's a Daredevil picture all of a sudden, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure. You know, some ideas are of the character, and then some ideas are just good stories.
Right,
where
right.
you're going, how does it work when you put in one of these characters? And you know, it's something that I don't know. Is there anyone in here that's also looking to break into comics, or not really your bag? So we have a couple of people. Always, the best advice we can give is to, you know, make your own comics, and that's the catch-22 of it all. To find collaborators that don't that complement you, and the things that you can't do, they do well, and be a generous collaborator, and then put something into the world, and then you know, hopefully you can start to get some traction. But it's a long road, but it's a lot of fun. So
Also,
I wish you all the best.
Bribery helps.
Bribery,
Extortion.
Yeah, if you have obviously more questions, feel
Do
free
we
to
have
jump
them?
in.
What's it like for you guys to see, with the invention of the MCU and DCU and Invincible, to see the characters that you've either created or worked on screen?
You take that one, because you're.
I never expected something like that, so it was definitely a surprise to me. It was nice. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Even when the first season was being created, we all weren't totally sure about it. We're like, yeah, it looks cool, the story's great, but this might totally flop, and we'll still have the comics, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
So it didn't really matter
Yeah.
if the show failed or succeeded.
How are you,
Now it's just blew up, and it's doing awesome.
Yeah.
Second season is even better than the first season, in my opinion. It's amazing.
Have they like maybe you can say, how long is that, like, trajectory of it? Is it multiple seasons, sort of?
Yes.
Yeah, very cool.
We have 2 and 3 approved. So.
How much money do you have?
On you, it's not a.
Have you seen the whole second season? Have you seen the whole second season?
I have, yes.
Oh,
Jelly.
Tell us what happens in episode 7.
As an artist or a writer, is there anything in the industry you change or want to change?
Yeah, my whole career.
I actually, the thing that I wish people understood as readers is that you're all the secondary market. Like, I wish more comic readers understood the primary market are the retailers, and then would pre-order the books, because then there's no guesswork. There's so much guesswork because much of the product is not returnable. So that would be the, like, magic bullet shot that that's why when you hear us talking about pre-ordering a book, it's really giving life to that book, and if you're enjoying it, it takes all of that guesswork out and helps, obviously, make it more sustainable. I think that's a good answer. It's not a funny answer, sorry.
Selfishly, I kind of wish there were more black and white comic books.
Oh.
They seem like they're hard to sell, but.
I'm actually doing
I
a
really
black and
prefer to
white.
read them even in black and white, so.
You know, along that, Brian, it's like more comics similar to manga. You know,
Yeah.
black and white, grayscale, but also much more cinematic. I mean, manga's kind of winning even here in
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like
I like kids
it
read
reads
manga.
better for me, like, because it's not, I don't know, when there's all the, you know, the coloring is great, and they have great tools, but, I feel like it can, you know, you read a black and white comic much more immediately, in my opinion.
I agree.
That's interesting. There was a hot minute when I was considering printing Dead Eyes black and white.
That would've been cool.
It would've been cool, and of all ironic things,
So you
I talked to Robert.
chickened out?
I did chicken out, but Robert just said, look, you know, it looks super cool either way. You're probably just gonna shave some sales off. But maybe that, you know.
Says the guy who has the most
Well,
successful
that was,
black and white.
it's ironic coming from me, and I got it. There is, McRae did print a black and white art edition of the book.
Mhm. Oh,
It's
you did
really-
it?
It's really cool. Yeah, it's really, really neat.
It also, like, reading the black and white stuff takes me back to like Savage Sword of Conan.
Yep.
And Rampaging Hulk, all those those old, you know, big magazines. I love that shit.
Oh, me too. I still have a pile of Treasury editions.
All the Treasury
and stuff,
editions,
but,
exactly,
uh,
yeah.
Deadly Hands of Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that shit. Yeah.
Outside of this panel, since you guys are like the geniuses, who are some of the young and
Thank you.
up-and-coming artists?
Thank you, and I agree with that.
Who are some of the young and up-and-coming like artists and authors that you guys find like are gonna grow into something?
Screw those guys, they're taking our jobs. Fuck them, man.
I don't know who, Ottley, you might have somebody, like, who are you reading lately that you think is like young and really good?
I mean, I don't.
That's a nice way of saying we're
It's
all
hard to
old,
say
by the
how
way.
old people are. I assume, like Justin Mason, have you seen that guy's art?
Yeah, oh yeah, I know Justin.
Amazing art, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's some places, there's quite a few of them, yeah. Names escaping.
He's 45.
Is he? Oh, shit.
No, he's
No,
not.
he's not. No, he's not.
The other writers in the X office right now, like there's really young, diverse group of writers that, you know, writers too that are maybe not so young, but that I hadn't read yet, like Victor Lavalley, I'm not pronouncing that. Yeah, I just crushed Sabretooth beyond belief and all, like, so, it is funny, it's like, I barely know anyone's age, but like, Alyssa Wong's, their Deadpool is incredible. You know, I'm a fan for life now, and, who else?
Simone DeMeo's at this show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Simone, every
Yeah.
time I see, I think it's an E, every time I see his work, it like makes me panic. Cause I'm like, oh, that's the future, and I'm doing like old stuff, old people stuff.
Old man Stegman.
I don't know how old, I haven't met him, but he has a table, but I haven't seen him.
We'll go visit. What was your question?
Statement, you're doing your art for Vanish right now,
Mhm.
and I was wondering, with your pre-long run on Venom, do you like working on Vanish more than Venom, and like, what's different, especially with like the publisher, with Marvel and Image being
Oh, well,
so
there's-
different, like.
So I wouldn't say I like it more. I enjoy both. But the you know, Jordan's sitting here in the front row. The truth is, I don't think I realized how much the editors were doing to run interference between, you know, me and the things that are annoying about putting a comic book out. So I've learned that the hard way, that you know, I mean, I don't mind it, I've learned how to deal with it over time, but there's a lot more of me having to get on the phone with people and make decisions that I don't normally have to make, you know, like I really, my favorite thing in the world is to draw, right? And there's a lot more administrative stuff with the creator-owned that I could really live without. But I mean, as I've been doing it, I've kind of like figured out how to, you know, delegate to, you know, other people on the team and do that stuff. But yeah.
Your boys are almost old enough to put to work.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but they're gonna be
there's-
bad workers. But
You'll have the pleasure of firing them.
yeah. but yeah, they're two totally different animals. But I mean, the drawing stuff. So I'm writing. I co-write Vanish too. So I do a lot of that, the heavy lifting there too. So that's it. It's been a really interesting learning process, and I enjoy that. But I wouldn't trade the Venom stuff for anything. That was a great time.
It's also, I mean, when you do creator-owned stuff, you get to do stuff. Nobody's really telling you what to do, like this bastard right here. Yeah. You basically
No exit wounds.
yeah, no exit wounds. Green blood and all that shit. You know. Yeah, exactly. I hate that, man. But you know, especially when you're working for Marvel, DC, corporate comics. At the end of the day, they're not your characters. You come and you play in the toy box, but they're not your toys. You got to put them away afterwards. When you create your own stuff, you do whatever the hell you want. You know what I mean? For the most part, you know.
Yeah, I can't believe, like, sometimes I'm just sitting there and I'm like, because I'm co-writing it, right? Like, I sit down with the script that I have in the morning, and it's not really, it's kind of like this loose thing, and then I'm like, what if this happened entirely differently, though? And then I just do that page that day, and I'm like, well, now we're off on a different course, you know? And so that's fun, but I mean, again, like, my life is harder because of it, so.
Do you have to consult Donnie about that? Do you do that?
Sort of, yeah, like most of the time he is into it, so, you know, I mean, if I make a big change, then, you know, I'm not gonna change a full, arc of the story, you know, if we're still gonna get to the same end.
Don't make Donnie mad.
Yeah.
He has his ways.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to hear from both artists, like how they got into comics and early stages of like it being inspired to draw by what, and you know, what's their first kind of books that you had and what they got into.
We have very similar inspirations, don't we?
Yeah, the same artist and stuff, you mean?
Yeah, Tom McFarlane.
Yeah.
But wait, you started on Spawn though, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely over.
Well, no,
So
I
started Spider-Man.
had the Spider-Man stuff. I didn't know that there was a person that did it. Like, I didn't know,
Oh.
you know, like I was young enough where it was just like, this is amazing.
Wait, how old were you when you started doing comics?
You was 35.
I was like, well, no, so all right.
For all this?
So when I was I never had any comic books, and then I moved to Pennsylvania.
This
so I
already
lived-
sounds terrible.
I've lived in Michigan my whole life, except for there was a 2-year period where I lived in Pennsylvania. We moved to Pennsylvania, and one of my friends had all the McFarlane Spider-Man stuff, and I was obsessed with it.
Were you drawing already or not?
Yes.
Okay, so you were just.
This was my friend who we drew. Like, that's what we did. Like, he was the guy. I was like, oh, we both draw, so we're gonna.
What were
be
you
friends.
drawing?
And by the way, what happened to your friend?
Comic books.
He's
You're
dead.
drawing comics?
I looked him up. His art's bad.
And it was Ryan Stegman.
You drawing comic books before you read comic books?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, making up my own characters and all that stuff, but I just didn't really have access to them. No, my parents didn't take me to the comic book store for some reason. So then I moved back to Michigan, and then I lost access to comic books again, right? So I didn't really have any. I remember I had one X-Men issue that I just, you know, I bought it at 7-Eleven or something and just tore it to shreds.
That's interesting, but in the absence of comics, then you were making your own comics.
Right. Well, I wanted to do animation. So then I was like, well, this is kind of like animation.
But like, was it making a flip book or something?
I just, but no, really, I wanted to tell stories with art, but it still hadn't dawned on me like the best way to do that was comics. I still was like, I want to make cartoons. So we moved back to Michigan. I was out of comics for a little bit, and then I happened upon a comic book store, and I bought an issue of Spawn, and I got immediately obsessed. Like I was carrying it around, rolled up in my back pocket, and showing my friends, and being like, "Why aren't you as amazed with this as I am? This is the coolest thing ever, right?" And then
So
I
you
was
didn't
like,
have a lot of friends,
right, yeah, of course, that's why I do comics. And then I realized I was a big fan of Todd McFarlane's art, and I was like, I should, you know, I started buying other books, and I was like, I'm gonna go find those old Spider-Man issues that I loved so much. And then I was, you know, bin diving, and I found them, and I was like, it's the same guy. What the hell? Like, I fell in love with his art 2 separate times. So yeah, then at that point, I was like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do with the rest of my life. And you know, I also, at that point, I'd become disenchanted with animation because I watched a documentary about it, and they were in an office in cubicles making animation. I was like, ooh, that's not what I expected. And then I read stuff about Todd, and he's like, yeah, I draw in my
Underwear.
attic, you know, yeah. It's like, oh, you get to stay home, draw comic books, you know, that sounds like what I wanna do, and so.
Do you also call him the Todd Father?
Yeah, of course, he is the Todd. Can't take that away from him.
What, Ottley, your turn.
Yeah, so, I didn't read comics till I was 15, and my first.
I think you said 50.
50, yeah. No, 15, and it was Amazing Spider-Man 328, I think it was Cosmic Spider-Man. Blew my mind. I thought it was.
That's the first comic you read?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was that great Hulk versus Spidey. It was a good one. So, but you know, I've been drawing since I was 2. I was always into art. I would read, you know, the Sunday comic strips, Mad Magazine, that kind of thing. And so that was kind of my direction. I was really into humor, making you know comic strips, super shit. You know, hence that's why I was really wanted to make that book Grizzly Shark, just because it was like off the wall violence and comedy and crazy shit. So,
I'm pretty sure my first comic was the Spider-Man issue with the Frank Miller cover where Spider-Man's shooting his webs and Dazzler is in the foreground and the webs for some reason are like flying backwards. I'm like, what has happened?
Really? I don't know
Oh my
that.
God,
I don't know that.
I think it's that one or a Hulk issue, but.
I'm curious, how old were you when you started reading?
See, so I'm hardcore Gen X or what so 73, I was probably.
You're 73?
I was 73, born in 73, and my old man would bring me a comic book home from his commute from Manhattan to New Jersey. He would stop at a newsstand and get me a comic, and he would get himself the evening paper, but I was reading them both. But this was like when the mob war was up, so I was like, headless body, topless bar, like.
The greatest
I was
of all time.
100%.
Where is this at?
This is in New York. I was growing up in Jersey, but I was like absorbing all the tabloid stuff too, and so like I think that's where a lot of like my messed up sense
Like
of
the
humor
Weekly
came
World,
from.
Mute News and all that shit? Yeah.
No, but like
Bad boy.
but the mob war was going on. There was like John Gotti and all that stuff. So it was.
Where in Jersey were you?
Ridgewood in Bergen County. So it's almost into New York, but those were fun days too because there were no real true comic book conventions, but we had creation sci-fi cons, and then they became Star Trek shows, and there was always sort of a comic book enclave somewhere of a couple of dealers that had comic books, but like back in the day, it was like
We had
the
like
people
flea market.
tabling.
Remember flea
Yeah, it was
markets?
like flea markets, but like
And creepy guys in overcoats.
and like creepy guys in overcoats, and then like David Mazzucchelli and Walt Simonson and the
Who were also in
Wheezy,
overcoats.
they were also trying to form one person. But no, it was really exciting to be reading back then. So my first issue with Daredevil was Born Again. I didn't know that it was not always that good. You know what I mean? Like I was like, what happened? What happened to this story? It was good glory days, but late 80s comic book reading, Bronze Age.
Yeah, well, that's, yeah.
70s.
Oddly, how did you bounce off that Spider-Man book? Like, how did you go from there?
Yeah, as soon as I saw that first issue I bought, 328 of Spider-Man, I was like, oh, this is the artist I want to be. I want to be a comic artist. So I just started working on it after that, collecting.
You were always drawing before that though, and you just didn't know what.
Yeah, I was always ready for it. Monsters and stupid faces and comic strips, that kind of thing. I was really into Garfield and Far Side and all that.
Yeah. I was big into Far Side and Bloom County too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much.
Calvin Hobbes.
Yeah.
Were there any other characters that you, like, after Spider-Man, were there any, like, the next comic, like, oh, this Hulk or something? Is there
What's that,
another
sorry?
comic that you got into after that, or just all of them?
Oh, pretty much all of them, yeah. I mean, that's, shortly after that is when Image started, and that just blew my mind. I was into every single book, and a fan of it, almost every single creator, I won't tell you the ones I wasn't, but, So it was good, good stuff.
Cool.
Good time.
Cool.
Early 90s was my favorite time for comics, it was great.
Max, for the two Ryans, is art from a lefty better than art from a righty? Or
Sometimes you go left.
Yeah, I can do both.
Ambidextrous, oh.
No,
There are a lot of left-handed comic book artists.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
And there's a few of us that like Scotty does this and Trent does this, which is we're left-handed, but we play sports right-handed for some reason.
Weird.
Freak.
I mean, LeBron James does that too.
Does he?
I'm just like him. I'm like the LeBron.
Yeah, that's what they, yeah.
My grandfather was a lefty, but the nuns beat it out of him, so he was a righty by the time he
You know, actually, I mean, I didn't have nuns to beat me, but my mom kept moving the pencil from my left hand.
Oh, that's
I would draw left-handed, and it was like an eagle thing.
Yeah.
So she would move it to my right hand.
Wait,
So
so you were left-handed?
I was, yeah.
Really?
I had nuns beat me for fun.
I sent them.
So, Ollie, you do.
There's a club I go to, exactly.
That's like on some of your books?
No, I was totally lying when I said that.
What's your
Really?
question?
No, she's saying 5 minutes left.
Oh.
That was fair.
We're gonna have some, let's get some questions, come on.
Yeah, no,
Come on, come on.
what's your
Rapid fire,
question?
Rapid fire, rapid fire.
How do you write for 80-year-old characters without screwing up the history? Do you have to take classes?
Well,
The answer is we do screw up the characters.
I think that's probably true, but the other thing that is true is somebody, it may have been Tom Rebord, our Avengers editor, described continuity just as a guardrail. And so, you can scrape up against it and know you traded some paint and not go over and ruin it. I don't know, like, I'm writing Captain America a little bit again this year in Uncanny Avengers. It's a mini that we're doing to celebrate the 60th anniversary of those characters. And I couldn't be more excited to write Captain America right now, and I'm privileged to be able to do so. The age of those characters, to me anyway, feels irrelevant. Although it's funny, in Iron Man, I gave him the one thing to make that I vaguely know how to do, and he's writing his autobiography there. And now I realize when you're sort of sitting there doing it, you go, holy smoke, the Mark I, it was 60 years ago. That's when it starts to feel weighty, but hopefully when you sit down to write something, even if it's old, it should feel new.
Right. You want to be, have reverence for what came before, but, you recognize that you're doing it in a current age, and you
Yeah.
have to keep it modern and fresh,
Totally.
So it's a balance, really,
For sure.
And for Tieri,
Yeah.
are you named after anybody?
Am I named after anybody?
My father.
Like?
There's a mobster.
Hey, really? You don't say. No comment. No comment. Next question.
Mind your own business.
Yeah. Next.
I'm relatively new, so what would you guys say is
New
your...
to the world? You
Oh,
just-
sorry,
You just hatched.
So
Yeah.
what would you guys say is something like a run that you guys have that you for sure want somebody new to pick up and read?
Oh, that's a
That
great
we've
question.
done?
Yes.
Oh, that we've done?
Yes.
Oh.
Let's see.
I think that, well, did you read the Venom run that I did?
No, they didn't read any of that shit.
I think that a lot of people tell us that, that's where they started in comics, and I think it is like a good, sort of
Yeah.
primer comic, I think.
I never get tired of somebody saying, hey, this is what got me into comics, and there's usually varying answers, but I'm very proud of the X-Men story that we're telling, so I would say if you had to start
Not
with me
Uncanny
somewhere-
Avengers, I hear you.
We did Uncanny Avengers was very good too, with Ryan.
I had a lot of fun doing Wolverine shit. Yeah, that was a good run. We did a lot of crazy stuff in there,
I mean, Ryan's is easy, like, Invincible's
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
A great, primer, like my son is obsessed with Invincible.
Wait till you guys see what I realized you can't see what they're working on. Holy smoke, it is great. Question in the back, we haven't gone.
Yes.
Hey.
So earlier in the Thor series, about a year and a half ago, Case and Company and Marvel, it looks like they're alluding to like the Black Winter doing a crossover
I think you're talking about the King in Black.
No,
It's
the
after
black.
the King in Black, it's after,
Yeah, this is
that
in
whole run.
It's one.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so just kind of wondering what, if you could say any of the talks with Marvel about, this Black Winter event where, Thanos has the Infinity Stones with Mjolnir, with the Black Infinity Stone, and, any of that kind of stuff that's up and coming. This looks pretty epic.
I missed some of the question, but it was a tease, right, for the deep tease of a future with the Infinity Stones. You never know how that stuff will pay off. We try not to comment on unpublished stories because if we are asking you to pay your hard-earned money, we want you to have that story preserved. So that's why we lie to everybody in our solicits and covers very often, because we need to excite everyone, you and the retailers, to want to order the books, to then somehow still be surprised, even though we have supposedly given you all of our secrets 90 to 100 days out. That's actually the other interesting thing about comics. We are aggressively progressive in terms of wanting to be 10 years ahead of even other media, but we have a very 20th century business model. So it's a balancing act between what we call the direct market of sales. And I'd like to think after 10 years of doing it, I've gotten pretty good at sort of going, okay, here's enough red meat that I can serve up for a solicitation, and this is what I'm going to keep for
Future,
readers, or try to anyway. I realize I'm painfully unfunny tonight. Are we going to try rapid fire? We have a few more minutes, or no?
One more question.
Oh.
Do y'all think continuity is more in check these days than it used to be, like in the 60s and 70s? Or is it all just the same out the window kind of timeline discrepancy for continuity?
If you have a great story in both eras, I would say they'll let you, sidestep continuity.
We refer to it as dancing between the raindrops, and certainly Jonathan did that with Moira, sort of weaving a story in and out of continuity. We did it in a much sort of sillier way on Deadpool, having fake inventory issues, which were when the creators were late or needed vacation or whatever. They would go, I got one in the drawer. We'll print this one. And we made a lot of hay of that, but comic books are fun.
Yeah.
They're fun to make, and they're fun to read. And they are a blast to collaborate on. So, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for letting us do what we love for a living. It is not a living that we are entitled to, but it's one that we are continually working at, and so thank you very much for that.
Planned a better end to that panel. That was
See? That's why we wanted to.
I'm a professional writer, and I saw the end and I went for it.
Yes. Yeah, but I know a lot of professional writers. It doesn't usually end like that. So, all right, you guys, VIPs, how you feel about a raffle? This is for I am terrible with this CGC thing. This is for a triple signed Hulk #6 from Marvel Comics, signed by Donnie Cates, Ryan Ottley, and Ryan Stegman. It is a 9.8. It is slabbed, it is graded, it is pressed, and it belongs to number 413782.
I won, thank you.
And once again, the cops are called.
Yeah. What else is new? What else? That's
There you go. Not a bad way to start Friday night, right?
Perfect.
All right, so a couple of quick housekeeping things that nobody cares about but everybody needs. If you have a green ticket, right? Okay, green ticket. You are going to go to Brian. Brian.
We need to wrap.
Huh?
We're gonna
raffle these up.
Oh, okay. All right. JK.
Great job, you.
In my defense, I asked.
So, which are we raffling off first?
Ryan's.
Oh, Ryan's.
Oh.
He's working though. Yeah.
You can, just start there.
Yeah.
We'll do the second one here.
You got it. All right.
Two very lucky people. I get to watch. By the way, it's a thrill for me to get to watch artists draw. I can't draw worth a darn, but watching them draw.
Ollie, that would go good.
Get a little,
with that.
get a little bit of white action
I'm also
going.
drawing with the same drawing.
Ooh, look at that.
That's insane. That's unreal. 413782.
That's
No, I called 781.
I smell a break here.
You didn't smell the spray.
I'm not even kidding. Like, look, here are the 413782, 782, and here's the 413781. It's a different ticket. Huh?
But you meant one, and I'm okay with that.
Oh, you may have mispronounced.
Oh, did I
Like,
read
yeah.
782 again? Oh, no, this is one. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I'm sorry. Everybody's happy.
Have you been Christmas?
Thank you.
Ryan, can you read this thing?
Yes.
Quietly, she's been drinking outside, we just didn't know. Oh, yeah. Wow. Set my cat.
Wow.
Did somebody just say, never mind. 413777. Triple sevens.
Gotta verify it.
CB for their Venmos. That's awesome.
Very nice, very nice.